Hey people, we are live. It's Arsenal Fan Circle. Welcome to the circle. Pull up a chair. You're all welcome here, and we might have a few new faces in the chat. That's great stuff. Season 3, episode 24. But not great circumstances that we meet once again. Gary, Anthony, and Sam. For right now, we're gonna have a few other people joining, but welcome everyone, and thanks for joining, boys. Gary, I'll start off with you. Arsenal, Aston Villa, and you said it in our previous meeting against Aston Villa, and even going back to what, July or August when we were defeated by them. We didn't apply ourselves in that game. They stayed up in the division. It's another butterfly effect for Aston Villa. They stay in the division. They don't have to sell Grealish, and Amy Martinez wants to go and play football, and he ends up at Aston Villa. They've tightened up their defence. They've gotten some good players from lower leagues, something Arsenal should take the page out of their book a little bit. Get some good, committed young players that want to play for a higher level. Arsenal's in the Premier League, and they can build their careers with Arsenal, and we can get the benefit from it. Have I gone on too long, Gary?
No, you can keep going if you want. Oh, Sam
If I
thinks
keep
you
going,
have.
I'm going to get a little bit more frustrated, and we're going to get a little bit more talking about the guys who wear, blow the whistles and make the decisions.
Yeah.
And we'll get into that as well. But wanted to welcome everyone here to Arsenal Fan Circle. Appreciate everybody watching live and on playback. And I'll turn it over to Gary. Your thoughts on yesterday's game, Gary?
Another disappointment, right? Another disappointment. We had all the questions that needed to be answered. Last time we played them, how the game ended the previous game, where we are as a team, like the previous 7 games to this bad stretch, all of that kind of should be enough enthusiasm, enough energy, enough how do I say? I can't think of the word right now, but we had enough going into this game that we should have been able to play really strong and try to get something out of this game, especially after the last one. And what we saw was not. Yeah, I mean, we didn't get a win. We didn't get a goal. I think they got to beat us up once again. Teams come out, they beat us up. We don't get the calls. It doesn't really matter, but we got it. We have to persevere through all this stuff, right? We don't have the leadership that'll help us get through this. We make silly mistakes. We don't get a referee call. All these things, it's all everybody else's fault. But you know what? The players didn't come out to play. I mean, no, they gave us the ball, we couldn't do anything with it, which is bad. The more I think about what's going on with the state of Arsenal, I smile. Like I said, because if I don't smile, I'll be mad and I'll cry. Because they'll take my smiles as like I'm okay with what's going on. I'm pretty disappointed in the way the team is, and you see like the Arteta outs, and I'm like, well, what's he doing to tell me that he's not worthy? So there's lots of different things out there that are going on.
Welcome, Wayne. I'm just going to cut Gary off there before he gets a little bit more.
It's Warren.
Warren, sorry, Warren. That's a great way to greet a new viewer, isn't it, Sam? Welcome, Warren, all the way from Aylesbury, Buckinghamshire in the UK. So, level 4. Ref, any questions?
I invited him today. I invited him.
So we have a referee. Okay, that's cool. That's great. Listen, Gary, lots of us, we're all Arsenal fans. We're all different generations. We're all different age groups. And we've all learned to deal with these defeats. And, if you don't smile, what are you going to do? Punch a wall or put a hole in this, which I don't advocate doing, getting that angry. Let's all try to get through this Arsenal defeat as best we can. But you get different types of people and deal with it in different ways. And who are we going to blame, Anthony?
Look, like you were saying before we came on, it's easy to point the finger at the referees, but look, we have to be accountable ourselves. The players have to have a long, hard look at themselves and really ask, are they doing enough to transform everything, you know. I know. Look, I know, Gary.
No, you don't even know why I'm looking at Darren. I thought it was my friend, and he's out here talking about the handsome one of the four, and I'm like, wow. Okay. Even Darren's not on. Is not it's not happy with me right now. I don't look good. Oh, go ahead. Sorry.
Oh, see, it's only because I caught up on all that sleep from all the past shows that I missed. That's all it is.
Yeah.
Well, I'm looking all right for a guy in my 60s now, aren't they? all the sleep.
All the beauty sleep, yeah, it's been working.
Yeah, I can't really remember what I was saying. I think I was just saying Arsenal are crap. I think that was about it. In a roundabout way, I think I was just about to say Arsenal are crap. What else can you say?
Warren, let me just throw it out at you, Warren. You've seen the Manchester City, the Liverpool penalty where Salah's gone down. Diaz has held his arm and he's gone down. Gets a yellow card. By the rule of the law, is that similar to David Luiz's challenge up at Wolverhampton Wanderers? But the outcome is of course different. And is the outcome mitigated by the covering defender in Stones coming across to help out Diaz in that situation? Just let us know there, Warren. Anthony, did you get through your opening salvo?
Sort of, in a roundabout way.
Continue.
Yeah, like you were asking basically what we need to do. Yeah, look, like I said, I've been on a couple of different panels, and like it's great to hear, everyone has different ideas of what we need to do, where the problems lie. I basically think, yeah, look, I agree with the argument that the problem it starts with the manager, and it comes from there. I'm definitely not an advocate for Arteta in, but I'm also not an advocate for Arteta out. I'm sure we'll touch on all of that a bit later on. But yeah, in terms of the game, I thought he got the lineup right. But then in hindsight, seeing how it played out, perhaps there was an argument to be made that maybe we should have rested a few players. But when I first seen the lineup, I couldn't have faulted it in any way. I thought we looked strong from the start, lineup wise. I thought we looked strong on the bench. Unfortunately, it didn't play out on the field. And I just think maybe we all got a bit overexcited, I think, with the performance, myself included. The first half against Wolves, the first 43, 44 minutes, we looked a team transformed. And I think this was a kind of a kickback to reality for us, that we did play a Wolves team who were massively underconfident and off form. I know Villa lost their game previous, but they were set up an awful lot more solid. And they were better equipped to deal with us on the day. And I think we were shell-shocked from the beginning. I don't think we expected the quick start from Villa. I think we were going in there thinking it's going to be like the Wolves game. They'll probably allow us a bit too much time on the ball. We can do our thing. That wasn't the case. Villa came at us from the start. And 2 minutes in, you were saying, it sounds mad to say, but 2-3 minutes in, you were already saying, I don't see how we get this back, which is crazy. We just looked like the heads just dropped right there and then. And we kind of went back to the Arsenal that we saw throughout that 7-game run where we couldn't string a win together. We were just out of ideas. We looked lost creatively. And even the creative players, Smith Rowe and that, they looked fatigued to me. So I do think maybe it is time for a bit of rotation.
Yeah, Warren has come back in and from the question I asked. No, denying an obvious goal scoring opportunity under the law is a straight red. Intent is not taken into account. So Sam, do we take it from that the Stones was covering across and they are two different situations there?
Yeah, I mean, first of all, I just want to put this out there that there's too many people talking about these things without knowing enough about it. There's people who have never read any of the football laws in their life, and they're going off of what they learned at school grounds or back in the school days or whatever. And they're like this. People talking about this last man thing against Villa. There is no last man rule in the football. There is none. There's nothing about being the last man. It's about who can cover and who can get back. So there's so much lack of knowledge out there, and it just stifles the debate because people are talking rubbish basically about it. First of all, when they're trying to compare incidents, there's a lot there they're not aware of, and second of all, this whole debate of whether there's bias towards us or not. I don't want to get into all that because I just think it's rubbish. It's just an easy way of deflecting the focus away from what it should be on, and that's that we don't play good enough. We don't take our chances. We don't score. We're not clinical like we used to be. We've got worse in front of goal. We create fewer chances than before, and that's the fact of the matter. And that's got nothing to do with the referee. The referee doesn't stop, Saka or Smith Rowe from scoring a goal. That's them that does that. So. It's and if you're 2 or 3 goals ahead, like we could have been against in our previous game, we could have been 2 or 3 goals up at half time there. No one will be talking about the referee. No one, So it's very easy. It's very easy and simple to do that. Anyway, that's my two bits on that. And when it comes to the game, unfortunately, we're back to where we were. A few games ago. That progress is gone. We sacrificed the FA Cup for nothing, basically, which I knew we did. I knew we'd be back here. So,
we basically sacrificed the FA Cup for 3 points, Sam, because we didn't get the return fixture with Southampton and beat them.
Exactly. So, and we've got some young players now who need some rotation, and then you've got the players who are coming in, they're not quite good enough, are they? So it's a bit of a mess, and we need to find out how to get through it.
As Matt said here from AFC Red Room, go check out his YouTube channel as well. He's doing some good stuff. If we were more clinical and didn't make the silly mistakes we do, we'd win many of these games, and the referee decision would be just an afterthought. Really, wouldn't be such a focus. We make it difficult for ourselves until we become Manchester City, pretty much, or Liverpool. We're not going in many of these games. We're not going to separate by 2 or 3 goals, and we're going to be at the behest of the referee decisions, which we're going to get into. And it seems to me I'm becoming, whether it's being criticised more as an Arsenal fan or not, Sam, it does feel to me like Arsenal are being hindered more than most teams with referee decisions. You disagree?
You got no evidence to back that up. Where's your evidence?
No, just what's hurting in here.
It hurts. Listen, it hurts. I'm an Arsenal fan. It hurts me too, but I'm also someone who tries to think a bit logically through things, and it's just you can't blame the referees. Yet it feels like we're getting a lot of decisions against us, and we are getting a lot of decisions against us. Yep. But I feel throughout a whole season of 38 games, that will eventually balance itself out. Like a good example I will always give is we got something rather miraculous this season, and that was a penalty at Old Trafford, which not only is like once every 5 years or 6-7 years, but it was given by Mike Dean as well, the Voldemort of referees. So
we did get one as well at home to Chelsea as well, which was very controversial and debatable as well, and similar to David Luiz in the same sense.
And that wouldn't happen if there was a clear bias against us. That wouldn't happen. So I'm just saying it feels harsh, but it will balance itself out. These decisions will balance itself out, and what you're talking about, I think. And this is I've been seeing on other podcasts as well, not just Arsenal but general, football podcasts, and you'll see other fan groups saying the same thing. They will feel the same thing by the referees not doing the right thing. And I think the overall, let's see, the common denominator here, the common denominator behind all of this is the referees are just not very good.
Yeah,
they're just not good. And you've got this whole problem with VAR, VAR, which isn't doing what it's supposed to be doing, because you've got colleagues, you've got other active referees. They're active referees. They're not ex-referees or referees from another division or league or country or whatever. They're not independent. They're actual active Premier League referees in the VAR room, trying to look at and possibly criticise their colleagues, which they're not doing. They're not overturning or criticising their colleagues. You know, they're refusing to do it, and that is a big problem. They're backing each other up, and that's why we're getting so many of these poor decisions from VAR as well, which is supposed to be the body that overturns what's wrong on the pitch, right? So, you know, it's a terrible situation. It's the implementation, the people running the system that needs to change. We need an overhaul from the top to bottom. We need to bring in competent people, and the VAR room, the people running VAR, needs to be independent.
Yeah, and I would also like to see what rugby union is doing. You hear everything. The consumer hears the product. They hear how these decisions are being arrived at. But I want to welcome Tony and Alonso in. Substitutions, late substitutions to the podcast. Reinforcements. Tony, as Matt said here, lineup was strong enough to get a result. We have to switch on much earlier straight away when we did. Like Wolves, first half we played as we should, as we were capable of. So I felt like we started pretty slow as well, Tony.
Yeah, the switch was kind of broken on this game. We didn't start off good in the first half at all.
And
I still want to see us play a whole 90 minutes. It seems like we're fully incapable of playing for a solid 90 minutes.
As Sam said, go ahead, Anthony. Alonso, who was it?
Sam, nodding along pretty good.
If
they just stop, let me say something. I mean, at least on the VAR stuff, I feel like VAR is being used to perfect the game, and it can't be because there's humans are involved, and we can't all see the same thing. We can't be all perfect. So, as far as being used to be perfect, where in the sense that for an offsides call, they want it to be perfect, which doesn't make any sense to me. There should be some wiggle room in there. Also, I think that attributes to some of the rules that you have, right? Offsides should be plain and simple, but it's not. So then they can use anything they want to justify whether it's offsides and then make the game perfect, which I don't like because it's not a perfect game. It can't be.
Yeah,
there's too much stuff that goes on to it. There's a referee. There's 3 referees on the field. If one of them misses something, you know, it doesn't always go to VAR. So I just feel like they're trying to use VAR to make things perfect. And like somebody said, they're not just to correct mistakes. If a referee goes out there and makes a mistake, then you correct it. If it can't be used to do that, then it's not. I don't think it's good at all, right? If you miss an offsides, if you miss a handball, if the ball goes out of bounds, comes back in, you don't see it, and you're able to see it on the tape, then you do it. If a ball goes through the goal and it should be called a goal and it's not, then you can correct that. But the way it's being used right now to try to make things perfect, I think is I don't like it because it affects the game, and you see it. Players, you know, the player is offside, and they still let it go through, even though the referee knows it's offsides. Make the call. Even if you know what, if you're wrong, I'll take that over the players hesitating for a second, because that's all it takes, right? You hesitate for a second, the play happens, and then next thing you know, either they score or a foul happens, right? If they throw a flag up and then there's like an incidental contact and you've got a penalty kick or a red card getting created, then you're kind of killing the game because that play should have never happened, right? That's what we see sometimes, right?
Yeah. The other thing as well, Gary, is you run the risk of an injury to a player that the play could have been stopped.
Van Dijk, would that have happened if they called offsides right away? Because I think there was a thought that there was an offsides at that point, and the referee could have put if he put his flag up offsides. I don't think is it Pickford comes out right and attacks the ball like he did because it's offsides at that point, right?
That particular incident is a tough one because it happened like seconds out, a moment right after the initial offside. People in the chats, interact with Warren here. He is a referee, so if you've got any questions for Warren, bang it out in the chats there and have fun with it. Yeah, Alonso. Sam said that Aston Villa kind of jumped on us quickly, and I'm going to say they were quicker to the ball, but we actually initiated our own. We were the architects of our own destruction. Even having Cedric on as a left back, he's facing the correct way to use his right foot, and he actually plays the ball with his favorite foot back to Gabriel, and it's just too soft, and that's the mistake. That's the first part of the mistake. Now the second part of the mistake, obviously, is holding is not tight enough to Watkins.
No, and you could say that ultimately cost us the game, but at the same time, it's like as far as Schneider and that, because he's been in the Premier League long enough to know that if he passes it back like that the way he did, then it's either gonna get picked off or it's not gonna be fast enough for Gabriel to reach him enough time for Gabriel to make his own pass.
Yeah.
So it was just a mistake waiting to happen, and it's happened so much where we had these brain farts, like Sam had said in the chat, that it happens far too often, and it's happened lately. So, and it's cost us games. And so, in my opinion, we can never really fully recover from that because we're always having to try to come back. And our record shows that it's been kind of wishy-washy, where we have a hard time to come back in games, especially when we're down at halftime. So.
Yeah. And I think, Alonso, I'm going to get a Gary now because we're going to have a conversation about Rob Holding. I saw you smiling there, Gary, when I mentioned Rob Holding.
You're on my side, I think, right? You're on my side?
Yeah,
Okay.
I can be, I'm not as strict or rigid that I can't be convinced as long as you give me a good story.
I did last time. You didn't like it. And then he did it again.
He did it again. He wasn't close enough to Watkins. What is he doing there? He's marking almost Leno.
Yeah,
Ryan. He's marking Ryan, and he's not marking Watkins. He's closer to Ryan.
Yeah, and as you have what they call bystanders, and Holding is always there. He's the bystander. You look at the scene of the crime, and Holding's always standing there. With the markings on the ground. Somebody just died here, and Holding's sitting there, just like, what just happened? I know, I missed it. Right? He's just always there. And as I've told you multiple times, and I'll tell everybody in the chats, I expect the players to once in a while to actually overcome the mistakes of their teammates. Right? He had an opportunity to do that again. This is 2 games in a row now. Right? For me, maybe not for everybody. For me, he's had 2 opportunities to make the play. I don't think he made the play. He wasn't in position. He doesn't realize that their striker is sitting in the middle. I mean, if you look at the replay, Watkins is in the middle of about 4 Arsenal players, and it's just a goalie. And Holding isn't there close enough to him. He's able to get a shot off through the legs, and Ryan's not able to get there. Now, is that communication with the goalkeeper who can see the danger once that pass kind of dribbles out wide? And I mean, personally, I was like, well, maybe Gabriel was supposed to continue up the side, and that's why he passed it there, because that's the only thing that makes sense if that was the actual, play. I don't think it was, but I'm just joking when I say that. But it looked like he set Traore up for a nice, he laid a ball up for him perfectly so he could get down the sideline and make the cross. That happened so fast, right? Bang, 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 goal. And that's what we needed on our side. Bang, 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 goal. And these
are patterns of play that we play at. Gabriel passes the ball to Cedric Suarez, and then the intent is for Suarez to either go inside or go back to Gabriel. And he goes back to Gabriel. He just didn't pass it firmly enough. And Aston Villa are on him like so fast. And the momentum of Traore is going forward. Gabriel's caught flat-footed, and the rest is history.
Yeah, I mean, that's the Kolasinac pass, right? A really bad pass backwards again. And next thing you know, Luiz is out with a red, I think, in that game too, right? So, or at least I think that was a goal. I think we just, But we've seen this
The
before,
first
and now we've
game.
seen it with a different player, right? On
Yep.
that same side of the field to start a game. So obviously that's not always on the players. I think that's on the manager, coach. Come into the game, you got to be prepared. These are the things we need to be able to do. This is standard practice, though. You're playing the back line. You got to be careful with the ball. Make sure that your passes are crisp and they make it there. We didn't do that. I mean, like I said, Holding at least is going to have to make one of these plays to be considered a really good defender because they happen around him time and time again.
Yeah, Anthony, as long as Gary said, as long as Holding continues to make these errors and mistakes, Gary has convinced me from the Wolves game that there should have been a tandem. David Luiz moves forward. Holding needs to filter centrally to cut off that pass. So it took me a while to get there, Gary, but I got there. The Aston Villa game, Holding's marking space, and the danger doesn't come from space. The danger comes from people and players.
Yeah, I think it kind of goes back as well to, like I said, whatever the instructions are at the start. Like for me, the two most important periods of the game are your first 5 minutes and your final 5 minutes. This is when you need to be the most alert and most switched on. And for whatever reason, we often don't start that way. And you could see that the whole move was kind of a calamity of errors. Like, okay, I'm not putting too much blame on Gabriel, but the pass to Cedric, I don't think even was a pass. It was more of it was an interception, and he probably could have done a little bit better to clear it. But I'm not putting the blame on him. It came to Cedric, and he played it back to him. It was a sloppy pass. Gabriel caught flat-footed, as you said. Yeah, looking at Holding's positioning, Ollie Watkins is there completely by himself in the box. Criminal defending. I don't know whether it's just like I've said before, I don't like Holding and Gabriel as a partnership. I like them as individual players, and it's almost like the Granit Xhaka thing. Like, Granit Xhaka with El Neni, no. Granit Xhaka with Partey, okay, maybe. I like Holding with Pablo Marie, even with David Luiz to an extent. I just think right now, himself and Gabriel, they just don't seem to have the communication. They both seem like they are the player in a pair that needs to be paired with a strong leader. I don't think either of them is the strong leader. I think they would both definitely benefit from having an organizer. And I don't know whether it's just a language barrier or what it is, but they just don't seem to have that communication between them. And I think I did put into our chat beforehand, it was the pair of them that played against Aston Villa the last time, and we saw what happened. Now, I know it wasn't as bad this time around, but I just felt it was potentially an accident waiting to happen with the pair of them there. And look, what can you do from Arteta's point of view? I know that the squad is so stretched that there's no one else you really could have put in there, but I would be concerned. I would be concerned about them as a partnership. And Tony Chambers there. Like again, the only thing about Chambers is we just don't know how fit Chambers is at the minute. That's the only thing.
Yeah.
I mean, one thing that you said there is in the Spurs game, how Holding seemed to not be playing well there. That had nothing to do with Gabriel, though. I mean, if you think about what the play that what Bellerin leaves him alone. Once again, he's alone by himself, and he needs to make a decision. Pick someone. He doesn't.
I think it's just communication. Lack of communication.
Yeah, but that's Holding though. That now you're saying Holding and Gabriel, and I kind of feel like, no, it's not always. I don't think it's communication because you can see what's going on in front of you. I mean, he's looking over there and he sees Gabriel come out and make the interception, which I think was a good interception. If Cedric stops the ball and holds it down for just a second, passes it back, none of this happens, right? But he makes a really quick pass. And in the Spurs game, once again, he's left alone. But this isn't Gabriel left him alone. It's Bellerin, right? Once again, he doesn't make the decision. I felt like, I mean, I believe he's good, but he's, these happen time and time again. I feel like at some point he's going to have to make a decision. Defend somebody. He doesn't defend anybody, and that's what happens.
Yeah, Sam. These things happen time and time again. But the issue is We've still only conceded 23 goals in 23 games. Let's put that to one side. We are pretty decent defensively, which Arteta has set out to do this season. The bigger issue for me lies that we are not scoring goals in the last 3 games. We've only scored 1 goal against Wolves in 3 games, and that's not going to offset any issue we're going to have defensively or with the officials.
Yeah, I mean, like you say, we've become a better defensive unit. There's no doubt about it. There are still individual errors. I agree. Holding, there's a lot there with Holding. They're still not right. Unfortunately, I keep saying he's not a first choice part of our pairing. You shouldn't really be starting games. I don't think he will be starting games if everyone's completely fit. I do think we'll see other players start ahead of him. But yeah, listen, Arteta's done something correct with our team, and that is we've become a lot better defensively from, taking on 30 shots a game, with virtually, everyone just running straight through to our defence game after game, as we had with Emery at the end of his tenure. Things have become a lot tighter at the back with Arteta, as you see with the clean sheets. The defensive performances as a whole has been good, apart from some individual errors, which you'll see everywhere. I mean, look at Liverpool today; they're an absolute joke today in defence. The reigning champions. So it can happen to everyone. But overall, we've become a lot better, but it has come at the cost of our ability to go forward and create and score goals. I feel like it's stifled our attacking abilities. I think we set up too conservatively, both in the way we start games, as we start too slowly. We never start on the front foot. We're always slow out of the gate. It takes us time to build up. Our football's so slow. We're not passing the ball fast. The high tempo, 1 or 2 touch football to get the ball going. We don't do that anymore. We haven't done that since Wenger, changed the Invincibles, and we went from direct football to possession-based tiki-taka football. And it's just, it's that DNA that's in us. It's that playing the ball around, taking touches, looking for openings, not playing on instinct and playing of the ball into space quickly with 1 touch or just 2 touches, direct football. And that's what's, the more time we take on the ball, the more time we take in our build-up play, the more time that the opponents get to set themselves into banks of 4 or 4 and 5. And, it becomes much more difficult to break down. And we just don't have the keys to break them down with the way we're playing at the moment. We just don't have the combination to do it. And with the lack of overall, you can see the lack of overall effort we have with some of the players. They're just not pressing as they should be. That the guts and the desire is just not there for the badge. In a lot of the players, and we go back to square one again, like we did a few games ago, where it's just dead going forwards. Yeah, we create a few chances, but we're just not clinical enough. We're just not taking the chances, and we've got to create so many chances for us to just score 1 or 2. It's just not happening against a good defensive setup. You're not going to create 10 or 12 or 15 chances to be able to get 1 or 2 goals, which it looks like what we need, because we're only getting 3 or 4 or 5 chances and we're not scoring, right? And again, this is also down to our star striker and key talisman, Aubameyang, being completely out of form and just completely. At the moment, we can't even use him, right? Which is correct. We shouldn't be using him because he doesn't deserve to start. And we're actually seeing now this season what life is like without Aubameyang's goals, right? Because he was a guy who was always clinical, scoring our goals, bailing us out, getting a draw or getting that last minute win or whatever, but basically bailing us out for a season or 2. And now we don't have his goals. That's it. What have we got? We've got nothing. We've got a few goals from Saka here and there.
We got a few goals from Saka. We got a few from Pepe, and Lacazette has actually been doing well this season as well. So the goals are being spread around a little bit, but we're not getting the same amount of opportunities or goals that Aubameyang was scoring for us last season. What kind of
You know,
beer do you have there, Gary?
that's what we're seeing. You know, we're just losing it. We're losing it. We're losing it so much based on not having his goals, right? Because that has been such an important part of our setup attacking is him being at the end of things and scoring goals. And now he's not there. We're just really struggling. We see a lot of talent. We see a lot of, you know, there has been a lot of desire there with our new kid, you know, the kids going forwards and everything. But now, sort of when things are, when we're sort of losing them a little bit now in terms of their sort of, you know, they're getting a bit more tired, there's a bit more intensity there. You know, they're not going to be able to give 100% every single game. We knew that. There's going to be games where their level drops a little bit.
Yeah.
And this is what's happening now, and it's just not working, you know. And this is down to the manager. He needs to find a way tactically for us to play where we need to be able to get more onto the front foot, not just sit back, be good defensively. We need to be able to get at teams as well, you know, and we got to be able to take more of a chance like that and you know, and put more caution to the wind and try and sacrifice a bit more of that defensive integrity to get forward and score goals. And you know, we're just going to have to, because if we continue like this, we're going to end up below mid-table. So you know, we need to do things now.
Yeah, and you know, I'm going to come to Tony, but Gary had said at the start of the season, could we possibly, you know, improve but have a lower league finishing position at the end of this season?
I don't think nobody liked that, because
I didn't like it at the time.
It doesn't sound like an improvement, but I mean, this is more of stuff that we don't see than it is the stuff we do see. I think, you know, I think it's more of everybody. We can't count the owners anymore as part of any kind of a problem. It's whoever is below them that is actually doing the day-to-day work, and all the way through to the players. Those are the only ones that can make a difference. And as much as we want the owners to do something, right now they're not. So I've given up on trying to think of, you know, Stan and his son doing anything. So I'm figuring anybody else below is fair game. They need to do their job, right? One of the things I'm looking forward to seeing, though, is, you know, when Dick Garlick comes in, and I heard rumors that they're trying to get a director of football. If that is the case, and they're trying to clean up what I call the front office, the top line management. If that happens, you know, will Arteta actually be part of their plan? Because at that point, right, they're going to have good people in there. I hope, anyways, and they're going to have to look at the team all the way down to the players, and which includes the managers and coaches. At that point, will they look at it and go, you know what, we've underachieved, and you know, it may not be it's not. I would say it's not even Arteta's fault, but he's just not the right man. But, you know, that could be the case. And then, you know, changes will have to be made. You know, I don't know who they would bring in, but, you know, changes might have to be made. We do that with players all the time, right? So we've known for a while we needed center backs. I feel like we've gone out and done that, right? So we know we need a manager that can take these players and get them to overperform. Right now, they're not doing that.
Great conversation with Warren and people in the chats here. Warren is a level 4 referee. He's actually refereed, I think, 5 finals last season, maybe. And he's a little bit embarrassed about the standard of referees in the elites as well. Just really poor, and VAR is protecting poor decisions on the field. In refs meetings, we are laughing at how bad the so-called elites are, you know, and you actually wonder if they are trying to protect the product and protect the star players on the pitch. You know, I got frustrated the amount of times that Grealish was obviously getting frustrated, Tony, in the game. Jack Grealish was getting frustrated because Hector Bellerin played him really well in the first half. Grealish was getting frustrated. And he was the one, Grealish was actually towing that line of whether he was going to get a yellow card or not. Now, eventually he would get a yellow card, but the referee almost embarrassingly had to take him to one side to, you know, calm him down a little bit. This is an England international, and the referee's looking out for an England international. Would that happen to any other international player in any other team? I think not, Tony.
Yeah, probably not. I totally disagree with you on Bellerin. I thought he was one of the worst players in the game, but.
Yeah, but he played Grealish really well to the point you can disagree. But what I'm seeing is Grealish getting frustrated, and Bellerin is part of that. Bellerin actually put a reminder on Grealish midway through the first half, what we called an old-fashioned hard challenge to let him know you're there. So, yeah, you can come back at me, but I'm coming back at you.
I mean, I feel like Saka is the reason why Grealish was having as many problems as he was, because he took him down a couple of times, clipped him a couple of times, and I think, if Bellerin was retaliating for that, then I think it's well deserved, because I think he was beating up Saka, and that's one of the things that came up is who backs up our players when they get knocked down.
That's
Who comes? Nobody does that for Arsenal. The players talk about being a team, right? But their player was getting Saka, which some consider our best player, was getting hit and knocked down time and time again, and nothing was happening. No retaliation, no working the referees, all of that type of stuff. And we're supposed to be a team. You watch your buddy getting knocked down over. They're getting the better of us when they do that, right? If they can knock down Saka at it well, and not get punished for it, then they're just going to keep doing it. And if your team is going to do that, and this comes back to me. Sorry, to one last thing. This comes back to me is us not having that leadership, right?
Yeah. That
leadership, and maybe it's time Kieran Tierney gets that leadership, gets that badge if he's healthy enough to play. Because I feel like I see the fire when he's playing for his home country. If he gets the armband and they give him the keys to the car, basically, that he'll bring some of that fire on the field that we need. I'm
gonna say something controversial here. Kieran Tierney should be that person, but I do believe while Granit Xhaka doesn't have the talent to back it up, he does act in every other way like a captain. Granit Xhaka. He doesn't have the talent to back it up.
He's not even getting an offer. I'm sorry.
Like I said, controversial.
It's not controversial. He's not getting. It's not even. No.
Tony, Robin here said, I agree. Holding and Gabriel doesn't play well together as centre back pair. I know they're two left footers now. You know where I'm going with this, right? But should we entertain Pablo Mari and Gabriel in the same lineup?
I think we should try it, see what works. See if it works or not. It's worth a shot. I still want to see Chambers out there. We haven't seen him.
You love Chambers, don't you?
He should be fit
enough.
You
love Chambers, you.
Sam, we have the sons of Arteta, and then we have the sons of Tony. And Chambers is one of the sons of Tony. Anthony, you think there's a good point in putting Pablo Mari in there with Gabriel?
Yeah, definitely. Like, I don't really buy into the argument of you can't have two left footers together. Like these are professional football players. I'm sure they're capable of using their right foot when needed. You know what I mean? I know the argument is you spread the play quicker and whatever else, but look, you're a central defensive pair, and I don't think it matters maybe as much as maybe a central midfield where you're looking to kind of spray the ball, left, right, whatever. You can use your right foot to hoof it out of play if you have to. You know what I mean? You can stick your right foot in for a tackle if you have to. I really don't buy into the argument. And if you're playing as a close unit, and you have, say, for example, Xhaka dropping deep, left foot, right foot, short passes, I really don't buy into the argument of, the two left footers can't play together.
We did all right with right footers. That's what I'm saying. We did all right for a long time with two right footers and Steve Bolden and Tony Adams. Yeah. So we could do okay with two right footers. Why can't you do okay with two left footers? So it's all just a bit of nonsense, really, if you ask me.
Yeah, and the guys we have, like Gabriel and Pablo, I haven't really picked up on it too much, but are they extremely left footed? Do they? I'm sure they use their right foot. I haven't really stopped to actually analyze. Are they only using the left foot the whole time, or do they? I don't think it's
like how strong
it's not like we have a winger, So
like Pepe.
Yeah, exactly.
It's not Pepe.
Yeah.
Sam, like Enda said here, when is Holding going to be held accountable? The only person that can do that is Mikel Arteta, right?
Yeah, he's been using him a lot because until recently he's had a few brain farts. He has been doing quite well. He is someone who gets stuck in, and he's been very good in the air. But yeah, he's been positionally, he's not been great. He has made mistakes, and he should definitely have some time out of the team now. I mean, if Pablo Mari is fit, he should come in now. As you guys say, I agree completely. I'd love to see how they go together, Gabriel and Pablo Mari, because at least they should have the communication down pat. And I think I just have a feeling they could work well together. The way they play, I see them play. I think their styles could suit each other. It'd be interesting to see that, and just give Holding a bit of a break now. Unfortunately, I think he's just been playing too much, and he's just losing it a little bit, unfortunately. And I've always said Holding's not a starting centre back for me. So considering he's backup, I don't think he's too bad, because he's not someone you're supposed to be seeing play that often, to be honest. And it's very difficult to find someone at a good level who is backup. It's not easy to find someone who's happy to play a bit now and again who is at a good level, or else they want to be starting.
Perfectly good backup. Perfectly good backup. What was I going to say, Sam? In the 20th minute, there's a ball spun into the box for Saka. I think it's Lacazette maybe passes it through. He's just so short of the goalkeeper. He makes an honest effort. He makes an honest effort to get the ball, but he also pulls out. I'm wondering at this point, Sam, are we too nice? Is Saka too nice? Are we too nice to a team? Most players would probably stick their foot into the midriff of the goalkeeper and try to engineer a penalty.
Yeah, I mean, it's. I think that is a general problem we have. We are too nice. We're not doing the nasty little things maybe we should be doing, to get an edge on things. And like Gary said, I agree completely. When we got Saka being kicked all the game, targeted. They've obviously targeted going hard on Saka and interrupt his play and getting it inside his head. No one's there to back him up, right? Before the old days, you had Vieira there, you had Keown there, Parler there, Ljungberg, sticking his little head in there. The guys, they stood up for each other and they didn't take anything whatsoever. And the other team stopped. The team stopped having a dig at us because they knew we were there to dig him out, right? Vieira would definitely go for him. So we lack that physical side. We do unfortunately lack. We do get easily overpowered, in many games physically, and then yes, like you say, that extra edge going there into the box instead of diving in and taking a chance, holding back a little bit, being a bit more hesitant, it's costing us chances, right? It's costing us those little tiny little bits of edge you need.
Yeah,
I mean, if he jumps in the air and tips that ball, it goes right over Martinez. I mean, I have no doubt it goes over him, because I mean, he sees the ball coming over his shoulder, and he should be attacking that ball, right, and not even worrying about the goalkeeper. Like you said, he hesitates because he's looking at the goalkeeper. You know what? So you put a foot into the goalkeeper, and you're attacking the ball. At that point, if you score, then they might let it go, right? But I mean,
make
obviously,
the referee make a decision as well. You have to make the referee make a decision.
We give them space. We're too passive. This is a football. You got to be aggressive. I mean, I saw the Assembles, comment there that the academy for Arsenal, they just don't let their players kind of communicate with the referees. But you know what?
In a forceful
99% of every other team out there, that's exactly what they do. The referees let it happen, and that's an advantage for them. If we're sitting back not doing it and we're getting punished for it, then there's no one to complain about except for ourselves, right?
Yep. Gary, it's a completely different part of the game that people miss completely. You can go and play the game, right? But you need to be able to influence the referee in it. Warren I don't know what Warren was going to say about this, but you can influence referees, right?
You can definitely do it to the British ones, right? And you shouldn't be able to. That's the thing. You shouldn't be able to, but you've seen it. We see it over and over again. I mean, the Wolves have 3 and 4 guys around the referee the whole game, making sure they get their calls. If there's a benefit of the doubt, he might side with them, because guess what? They're the only ones talking to him about it. We're complaining about getting hit. They're complaining about why not? Where's our call? I get why. This isn't a nice guy sport. Nice guys don't finish first, right?
Mm-hmm.
They don't. We've seen it.
Yeah.
I mean, any team out there that's out there, the last thing they're doing is being nice about it.
There's only
You know.
one referee I was ever afraid of. I would have ever been afraid of was Pier Luigi Collina. If anyone remembers him, nobody messed with him, right?
No, he was serious. He was, yeah.
Tony, Sahil Abraham here says, let's be honest, guys, we've been terrible this season. You can't hide from the fact that we're in 10th place, probably going to drop a little bit lower after Leeds plays tomorrow.
Yeah, all three teams behind us got games in hand, so we can easily drop to 13th.
Yeah, so you are, Gary, you are where the league tells you are, and there's no getting away from that, right?
That is true. We are essentially
lie.
we're 13th right now. You know, talking about with game in hands, we're 13th. Unless we're 4 points above the teams below us, we're 13th right now. So that's right. That's actually where we are. You know, you got to think worst case scenario in that scenario in this case. So we are.
Good to see Enda D in here as well. Ireland Rugby are Arsenal mid-table past their best and managers unfairly under pressure from fans' expectations. Anthony, 28-minute. Saka is one of our better players, and as we've already talked about, you know, he's getting fouled. Teams are game planning against him, but he engineers a free kick against Grealish. I'm kind of thinking this is perfect for Pepe. It's a little bit. It should be on his left foot, but you know, Granit Xhaka steps up, and I'm thinking, is Granit Xhaka going to take every free kick for us for the rest of the season, based on him scoring his one goal of the season against Chelsea? He's going to hog all of the rest of the free kicks. Now, turns out it was a good free kick, and he did force Martinez into a good save. But shouldn't we spread the free kicks around a little bit?
As long as we don't spread them to David Luiz, I don't care who steps up to take them, because like we have good options. Like Lacazette's a good free kick taker as well. Aubameyang, when he's on the pitch, is a good free kick taker. We see Cedric as well out to cross the ball. I'd imagine he's probably a half decent free kick taker. Why I always say this: why the hell David Luiz ever even comes up? The only tactic I can assume we're going for is if we're so far away from goal that you probably can't score, and the tactic is to just smash it into the wall and hope it goes out for a corner. That's the only thing I can think with David Luiz. But yeah, look, if Granit Xhaka is going to continue taking free kicks like that, I've absolutely no issue with him taking frees. I think if it hadn't been Emi Martinez, I think he'd have scored there. It's just, unfortunately, Emi's a good keeper.
No, he's not. That's why we let him go, because he's not that good.
Apparently, someone had the viewpoint he wasn't so good. We are so nice, Gary, that we just let our goalkeepers walk out the door.
As I've said before, we created Frankenstein, and Frankenstein just came and beat us twice.
Mm-hmm.
In the first time in a long time. Yeah. We created Frankenstein, and I don't know if we're going to be able to kill him.
Yeah. Warren here said absolutely using VAR to protect decisions is not correct decisions. Come to the 31st minute, Sam. Konza foul on Saka. Now, when you look at it in the cold light of day, Saka really kicks the leg of Konza. But the referee is going to hand out a yellow card there. A lot of people were saying, it's a goal scoring chance, 40 yards from goal. So there would probably be a lot of opportunity for defenders to come across and make it not be a red card, not a sending off.
Yeah, the whole red card thing is you're just not really looking at what's there. He's 40 yards from goal. He's got a long way to go to goal, so it's not an obvious goal scoring opportunity. Sorry, not when you're 40 yards from goal. It just isn't. So it's not Runos on goal. Then maybe it is. Anyway, that's a different story. But no. But listen, 40 yards from goal, not an obvious goal scoring opportunity. You could see there was another defender there on his way in. So the referee seeing that as well. So basically, the decision is correct. This whole he was the last man. Well, first of all, he wasn't. That other defender was on line with him, and there is no such thing as a last man in the laws of football. It's an urban myth. You know, so many people. Oh, it's last man. It's last man. Have a look at the laws. There's no last man. It's
There's
about
no last man, but then
it's about whether there's a clear. It's about whether you've got an obvious goal scoring opportunity. Whether you're denied that opportunity. That's what it's about. And the referee has to interpret the situation whether there are other defenders who can get there and help or not. Basically, that's what it's about. And also it differentiates with whether it's inside or outside the box, because they're slightly different interpretations on whether you have contact with the player or not. So so based on the rules of the game, that was fine. There's nothing wrong with that. Just very unfortunate again. That we don't get those breakthroughs. We can't get through and get a nice little breakthrough behind defence and run in on goal. And all that, which we used to be able to do in years past. We're always just a bit too slow or just a bit too behind, and the defender gets us and all that. It's a shame, really, isn't it?
Mm-hmm. A couple of comments from Enda here. Grealish is getting kicked about too. Well, he's also getting protection from the referees. That is my intention. That's my contention. And Saka is not getting that protection. We see in the 33rd minute Nakamba foul on Saka as well. So Saka's having a rough for first 30 minutes. Tony, and also said Bellerin is better than people give him credit for. Bellerin, I think, will be that character until the day he leaves Arsenal. He will divide the fan base 50-50, Tony.
He's pretty divisive around the fans. Half of them like him, half of them hate him, ready for him to go. I thought he's like a 3 or 4 out of 10 yesterday. Gotta go.
And Matt here is maybe backing up what I said about Xhaka. Xhaka has fire in his belly, which is great, needed, but he challenged it in a bad way and is too ill-disciplined to be a captain for me. Yep.
I heard a good analogy. I think it was Dan Potts from Same Old Arsenal. He said he's also someone who doesn't really like Xhaka. And he has this really great analogy about the way Xhaka plays. And he's so right. He's saying Xhaka's like a guy who gets out of prison just to go and as soon as he gets out of prison, he goes and robs a bank. He's just always shooting himself in the foot, constantly.
Always doing something wrong, right? All right, so Gary, we get to halftime. Not much happening. As I think Anthony said, we kind of knew after the goal went in. It may be one of those days like Southampton away in the cup as well. Not a lot going forward. Looking at our team, I thought against Wolves, Emile Smith-Rowe had a quiet game again, and possibly it is time for Odegaard to start taking the next game from him in a week's time.
Definitely. I mean, I think I said it in my commentary about the game. Emile Smith-Rowe, I don't remember him getting the ball much or doing what he's done in the past in terms of making sure his presence is known, right? And so and that probably, as we've said, is probably because he's just been working hard and needs some time away, and we don't see it until he gets in the game. And usually the coaches and managers need to see that, right? If he needs a break, they should be giving it to him before he gets on the field, right? He probably needed to take a day off. Especially with the stretch of games that we have coming up, especially if we need him, for those games. So he goes out there, he does what he does. He doesn't do anything spectacular, but he doesn't, he's not himself, I think. So yeah, I've heard, we should make halftime decisions, and we're not doing that at all. I think he feels like he has to do it at 60 minutes. No, if the game's not going the way you want, you pull him. Right, we've seen this multiple times. Sometimes you want to do this really before the end of the half, so your player comes in, gets his legs a little bit,
Emery did it all the time.
Yeah, have him come in, get a little bit of minutes before the halftime, and then come into the second half ready to go. Right, especially if you don't see what you want. If you're a manager and coach, and your team's out there and they're not giving it to you for 40 minutes, then you make a change, right? Either at halftime or beforehand.
Be bold.
I believe Pep would do that if he had players that weren't performing. I think good coaches will do that. They will pull the players out if they're not performing. It doesn't matter who they are. All right, and we didn't do that, and we never do that. And now it seems like 60 minutes. Well, 57 minutes. You see players getting ready to come on, and we don't even see the intention of why they're coming in. Right? I mean, 60 minutes. Yeah, at halftime we should have made a change. It would have been good to see Ødegaard in there to maybe spice things up a little bit. I think from what I've seen from him, this reminds me exactly of when I saw Kieran Tierney come in and play for a few minutes. I like what I see. I'm not seeing anything bad. I think there's something there. You just need to see more of it. Ødegaard looks the same to me. I don't think the stage looks too big for him right now. Yeah. So maybe he goes out there and he plays. It'd be nice to see how he does. I mean,
he fit in really well. I really loved toward the end of the game. He played a ball in the inside right channel for Pepe, and probably our last chance of the game at the time. But I think he's ready to start the next game, and we have a week now.
It makes me wonder. Yeah, it still makes me wonder why it took so long for us to get Partey into a game. I mean, I think we talk about being ruthless, and if a player is as good as we think he is, then he should play. All right. Partey, we knew coming in was a certain player. Everybody knew it. As soon as he's ready, he should play. All right. And I feel like we hold back, and we kind of kill any kind of momentum the player has. They come in with all this flare, with all this bang. Let's say we got Partey coming in, and then we don't play him for a little while, and it dies down. Everything seems to disappear. I mean, you lose whatever momentum you had coming in by bringing them, and they don't play. They need.
Meanwhile, Saliba goes to his loan club and plays, that same day or the next day.
Every player that has left this club that has any kind of ability is already in the squad making contributions. So that's another question as to is it Arsenal? Is it Arteta? What is it? Why can players just leave and be contributing the next day? Willock went out there, scored and had an assist in this league, in a team below us.
Yep.
How is that? And
how do we all feel about Willock scoring? Happy for him, but we're thinking we could have used some of that, right?
It shows the problems that we have here. That's what it does.
And now you remember San Maximin, right, Gary? Remember I told you about San Maximin?
Yeah. No, this is like I said, it's a big problem. Players can go away and play right away. They can't get any game time here.
Yeah.
All right. We could barely get any time. We couldn't find a spot for him on our team. He goes away, and a goal and assist later, he looks. It's
Emery played the hell out of him.
Emery did give him a lot of minutes, but listen. We all knew that Joe Willock, and when we read what Arteta said, that he needed the minutes. Hopefully this half season will help him. And him and Ainsley Maitland-Niles, and another player who continues to frustrate a little bit. He kind of walked through that game today against Tottenham. Anthony, as Matt said here, I'm glad we don't surround the ref, etc. I hate how that has got into the game. Just like diving is now accepted, but that said, we need to be tougher and more aggressive in how we actually play. If the other teams are doing it, we need to do it as well. We need to become masters of it. And as Gary said, we need to become bodyguards to our teammates as well.
Yeah, I agree with Matt. Definitely not something I like to see myself, especially the play acting on the pitch. I've been very vocal about that in the past. Something I absolutely hate to see. It's part of why I've never taken the Dani Ceballos as a player, because I think he's notorious for it. It drove me crazy watching Lucas Torreira as well, because he was just, I don't like to see it. But yeah, at the same time, it is hard to sit by and sort of say, well, look, I'd rather we didn't do this and this, but every other club is doing it and getting away with it, and then they're benefiting. It's almost like the argument we had before where, the Arsenal way was we do things the right way. We don't go out and splash the cash the way Man City do. We don't do what Chelsea do. We sign all these players, loan them out. And look, maybe we are just too nice. Maybe it's a whole change of mentality in and around the club. Maybe we need to start being a bit more nasty like the rest of the clubs, and maybe we wouldn't be falling so far behind.
As Warren has stepped in at a good point here, I bring a Gabi player over. This is what he does when he's refereeing, and it goes like this. Whoa, son, I didn't bring you over here to listen to you talk. It's my turn. 2 ears, 1 mouth. More listening, less talking. Less talking. Away you go. Thank you.
You know what? I think of that as kind of what I see kind of over here in the States, right? You've got your professional, NBA referees, and then you've got your college referees. The college referees are probably some of the best in I think in the world, in the sense that they are meticulously evaluated after every game. They need to be at a certain point. I think it's 95% basically correct on the calls that they make. It's once it goes below that, they kind of review it right away. In the professional ranks, they kind of let a lot of things go, right? And that's kind of what I think here is a little bit more because of the media. They don't want they don't want the media interacting with them as much, and they kind of don't want anybody to get involved in their business. And I think it's killing the game in some degree, because it shouldn't be about them at all. It should be about the players. Everybody's there to see the players, right? The same way that Warren talks about here, talking to the players and saying, look, I'm the referee. This is my game. I'm managing it. I'm only over here to tell you that, 1, and 2, stop it, right? Essentially. And that's because it's your game. And that's what the referees here, they don't have control of the game because they let somebody influence their decisions, right? It doesn't, if 5 players get around them, they should be able to tell them to get away from me, because it's my call, it's my game. You work on your playing, I'll work on my officiating, right? And that's how it should work, right? And that's where the level of, what they call it, can't think of the word now, but basically, we're not, I'm here to help you out, and you're here to go play, and I'll make sure that, all the calls go the right way, and I'll be consistent.
Level of respect.
Right? Yes, exactly. The respect goes both ways, and also the consistency is there. So the referee shouldn't have to worry about whether you're wearing the United shirt, or whether you're wearing the Tottenham shirt, or whether you're wearing the Burnley shirt, or whether you're wearing the Arsenal shirt. It shouldn't really matter, right? It's whatever I saw in front of me, that's what happened, and I can call it and not feel like, you know what, this is going to come back to haunt me because all these fans are going to be against me. And if that's the case, then that's when the league as a whole has to stand up and say, look, fans, our referees are the best in the world, and you got to agree with that, right? Right now, everybody in the world thinks the English refs are probably some of the worst, and that's bad for marketing, right?
Definitely. I hear that a lot, Sam. People saying, Arsenal fans particularly saying, the game's gone. The game is just gone, because now we're at such a level where the game has been sanitized and saturated down by media coverage. Every pundit now we're not independent. You have Manchester United ex-players on panels, and you have certain biases, whether they want it to be or not. And you've got VAR, which I think Warren has said is just being used as an umbrella, a way to cloak and protect the referee on the field. We've had numerous incidents as well, and we're going to get into that a little bit later. Only in the last week, we've had numerous incidents that we can highlight what's happening. We've got years gone by. I used to watch games, and a good referee would go unnoticed. You wouldn't even know his name. You wouldn't even know that the referee was on the pitch. You wouldn't even know that. Now we've got someone called Mike Dean, who wants everything to be about him. So, where is the state of the game right now, Sam?
It's terrible. That's what it is. The referees are a joke. VAR is not functioning the way it's supposed to be. They're so bad in England. They're not even doing the basics with VAR. Whereas VAR, it's you're supposed to use it only if it's a clear, like it's something clear and obvious, or something you're really in doubt about. But now they use it for everything. Every foul, basically, card, every penalty decision, any goal, every goal, everything's reviewed. Everything, no matter how good you think the decision was, everything's completely reviewed, and that's not what it's for. That's what it's there for. It's only there to be used if something is clear and obviously not correct, or you feel something was wrong there. We're not sure about that one. Like, was it offside or not? A close decision, or if there's some doubt on whether it should be a goal or not. Something happened during the scoring opportunity. Not every tiny little thing, which is what it's become. And also, in England, that they use it completely incorrectly is what the way it's supposed to be. The way it was implemented was the referee has the final decision on the field. He is the match official. He has the final decision on what goes on that pitch. And what's happening now in the FA with England is now it goes to VAR. VAR will say, "Oh, we're reviewing this," and he'll let VAR make the decision for him. Oh, yeah, it looks okay, or it doesn't look okay. And then they will make the decision for the referee. That's completely wrong. Yeah. The referee's supposed to go over to the television, the monitor, and then he's supposed to get help by VAR by showing him what he needs to see. Okay, I want to see this angle. I want to see that angle. Can we see it from that angle? Okay, what do you think? I mean, I'm thinking this. What do you think? Bounce back. Yeah. What the laws are. I'm looking at it like this. What do you think? And then, based on that information and the viewing of on the monitor, he's then supposed to make his own mind up and make a final decision himself. Mm-hmm. But no, it's VAR's making all the decision, and of course, they're just backing up what the referee does or whatever they think is right based on what the referee's done. And if there's any, a thing that they want to look at where they see the referee might have done something controversial or made the wrong decision, they don't have the guts to change it. They don't have the guts to overturn it. No. It's like it's become a protection and not a correction, which is exactly what Warren said, and exactly what it's become. It's a farce. So the system itself, I believe, is there for the good, and it should, and it could be used in the future to help the game get the decisions right.
All the tools are there.
It's the tools. The tools are there. It's just who is using the tools and how they're being used. That's what needs to be changed. That's where the fundamentals are wrong, and that's we need to clear out. And many years ago, when we went over from amateur refereeing to professional refereeing, they became professionals, and they make a very nice living now, the professional referees. The whole idea of that was they were supposed to become so much better, because all of a sudden that's your life. Your life is refereeing. You're not only a part-time, referee anymore with a day job. Your whole job is refereeing. You're supposed to know everything and review everything. And you were supposed. I remember there's like a program about the introduction of professional referees to the FA. And so now each referee is going to get a match review with another official, and they're going to go through the whole match, all the decisions. And like Gary said, you get a quality score and all this and blah blah blah. And if you're below a certain level, you get relegated. You're supposed to get relegated down the divisions. You get punished by getting relegated to lower levels. And then the referees who are doing well in the lower levels get promoted. And there's supposed to be a whole relegation and promotion system. But now you don't see that. You just see the same referees, and that's it. And they just back each other up. The whole system is completely flawed. It's all, it's just gone into this whole system where it just doesn't work. It just needs a complete overhaul from top to bottom.
Here's a little bit of gas to the fire, Mike Riley, right?
Yeah.
Right. I mean, who's running this thing?
Exactly.
It's starting. Yeah. We always talk about it from the top down.
Yeah. No, it's true.
As an Arsenal fan, you see it every time we have an issue. It pops up.
Yeah.
On an unbeaten streak shows up, and who's sitting there making the calls or not making any calls, right?
And these guys love attention. They love attention and all that. They like being in the media and all that, and they like being the bosses deciding what goes on there. I think they feel like gods, right? Because they're actually deciding the outcomes of big games and stuff like that. I bet they love it. And also with the extensive use of VAR, which is overused, it's used far too much. We're getting so many more points of controversy, aren't we? Each time it's used, you get a point of discussion. So, when they're using it 10 times more than they should, we're getting 10 times more scrutiny and 10 times more controversy.
because of the media, Sam.
Exactly.
As Warren said here, and grassroots is probably the purest form of refereeing for me, because you're doing it for the love of the game. You're out there in the harsh conditions, running with the players. He said game management is the key. You're there to direct traffic, nothing more. Talk to players as you're running near past them. And game management is key to manage the amount of yellow cards that you're dishing out, to keep the game not to hit a pressure point too much, or where you have to make. The referees, I think, make these situations for themselves in some situations as well, because they don't manage the game properly, and then they get to a point where it's a red card and they get themselves into a tough situation, and they've got to make tough decisions then. Tony, so this leads us up perfectly to actually Lacazette and Martinez incident. Wasn't seen for Arsenal at all. The corner for Arsenal in the second half, Martinez clearly pulls the shirt of Lacazette and he's taken down. There's no look at VAR, nothing there.
I don't know how VAR doesn't look at it at all. Even if they do get it wrong, they should at least be looking at it. He definitely dragged him down.
How if you look at that, if they look at that, how can you get it wrong? It's a stonewall penalty for me. Right?
Yep.
Gary?
Yes, it's an easy one. I mean, you don't need rulers or anything like that to figure out what's going on there, right? I mean, the reason why the ball flies through and nobody touches it is because Lacazette cannot go and attack it, because he's laying on top of, Martinez, who pulled him down. I mean, and we complain about that, and people say, "Why are you guys complaining about the referees?" Well, this happens, right? That happens, right? If that's we think if that's one of our players pulling down one of their players, it's going to go against us, and it shouldn't. It should be consistent, right? I don't think I've ever seen that call, so I don't think. I think the goalkeepers usually get the benefit of the doubt in those situations, and that's why. But that if you're going to use VAR for, I don't know, for certain situations, that would be one, right? Because think about it, they used VAR with Lacazette and a goalkeeper when they said that he was interfering with the goalkeeper, I think, right? And we scored, and he was nowhere close to him, and somehow they still figured out he interfered, and then the goal was taken away. I mean, so why didn't they look at that one? You got a player sitting on top of your goalkeeper, and you don't even want to look at the camera. What? This is it's funny and it's sad because it's killing the game, right? We're talking. We could talk probably for hours about the referees and the calls, and we can't talk about all the good plays that happened, right? Right? I mean, we can't even talk about that because they're tainting the sport, right?
Mm-hmm.
I don't want to be talking about. I don't need to know referee's name. I really don't, unless they're in like the finals, and we're talking about the referees doing a final. That's the only time you probably should name a referee. It's like, what? Here is Paul Tierney doing his 10th FA final. That's when I want to hear his name, and then after that, you never hear his name again, right?
The sign of a good referee is that you don't actually notice him on the field. And Gary, the Assemble said, has anyone noticed that Arsenal timid players leave Arsenal and become aggressive? Is the players' conduct guidelines interesting?
Timid players leave? I don't know. I mean,
we're timid. Our players are timid when they're at Arsenal. When they leave and go to another club, they become aggressive.
Yeah, it kind of reminds me of my I guess this is all about me, I guess. But when I was playing in high school basketball, and I would go out and play on the courts.
Mike Dean of this podcast.
No. I would go play pickup at the parks, and I would be playing against some of the other high school coaches would be out there, and they're like, why don't you guys play like that when you're actually, in the game? Yeah. And it was kind of the way we were being coached and stuff like that. People would say. And similar thing, Arsenal players, they can come out of their skin and actually play. I mean, this is football. It's supposed to be fun. If Pepe excels at a certain skill set, then you should embellish that, right? You should push for that because that's when he's going to be his best. That's when he's going to be smiling. That's when he's going to be doing what he likes, right? What's the point of having to play with a certain skill set if you're not going to utilize it, right? I mean, that's when you kind of lose your you lose the player because they can't express themselves, and they're good at certain things and they don't get to do it. They go somewhere else, and the coach says, "You know what? I've seen you. This is what I know you can do. Let's see if we can fit that into our game plan." Right? And then you go out there and you see these players excel and do the things that they want to do. I mean, every player so far that has left that's got a chance to play has not looked bad, right? And they can't get a game. They can't get a game at Arsenal. Why is that?
And Thomas Partey, I think Thomas Partey is being freed up a little bit in what he's doing on the field as well for us. Anthony, to circle back around a little bit to what Gary mentioned a few minutes ago, with basketball and assessors and all that. We used to have that in the Premier League. I don't know if it's still going on. If you have a fellow referee or somebody from the FA actually assessing the performance of the referee on the field and their team.
It comes back to the argument, I guess, of accountability for the referees. The referees making the calls and knowing that they're not going to face, a camera at the end of the game. Nobody's questioning anything. It's almost a similar kind of thing. There's no panel to review the referee, what he's doing on the pitch, and whether he's making the same errors over and over again. We're basically doing the analysis that an expert team should be doing. At the head of the FA, it's supposed to be the best league in the world. They should be equipped to deal with these things in the best way. They should be setting the bar. You want the best referees reffing the best teams in the best league, the best players. It does not make any sense. So you're basically saying to the refs, you're giving them a platform to say, yeah, look, do your thing. You're in control. If it goes right, if it goes wrong, either way, you're still there. This other guy is going to replace you. Yeah, and it's fine. And then where's the incentive for the other referee that is doing a good job in a different division that could legitimately improve things in the Premier League? Especially, I think it's almost a case with some of the older refs, the old school refs, and Mike Dean, and that he's a different animal altogether. And I think the ego is just so inflated there that a guy like that needs his wings clipped. A guy like that, I think, could benefit from being taken down a couple of pegs and being replaced by a younger ref, who's not in it for himself and is in it for the love of the game and improving the sport. I think these guys, sometimes when it comes to VAR, it's almost a case of they're probably seeing where they went wrong and said, well, for the sake of my credibility, I'm sticking with my decision because I'm never wrong.
Let's look at Mike Dean. Two games he's refereed in the last 3 or 4 days, and he's had 2 high-profile incidents happen to him. Yesterday, sending off Souček for West Ham for what was an apparent elbowing, but it really wasn't. And before that, the Manchester United game where Martial is clearly diving before Bednarek gets to him.
Yeah. There was actually, before I mention the point I was going to mention, I was just going to say, in defense of the referees, it is the toughest job in the sport, and this is why we have VAR now. So I have sympathy in a sense, because the players know how to play the game, and the players are the ones who are making life difficult. Because you look at that Souček and Mitrovic. Mitrovic, he's a big guy. He gets a tap in the face and he's down like a ton of bricks. He's down like he got hit by a sniper.
Yeah.
There needs to be more punishment handed down to the players, because the players are getting away scot-free in this. And I did say this earlier on Twitter. I said, I'm not defending the referees, but at the same time, the players have to be accountable. And it's the players who are contributing, like whatever the offsides and the VAR, that's different altogether. But for the majority, the fouls, the free kicks, the penalties, it's the players playing the game. And the players are, cheating the system. Now, it is up to the referees to use the VAR correctly to stamp that out. But I think punishment needs to be handed down to the players as well. Like if a referee can overturn a decision and you can blatantly see it was an attempt by the player to con the referee, he should be punished. There's just not enough punishment. And it's just the honesty is just completely gone out of the game altogether. But just as I was about to say that, I was just going to. I watched a clip of a game the other day. It was in Serie A. It was Atalanta against Torino, and it was Andrea Bellotti. He was going through close to goal, just inside the box, and a player came in to tackle him, and he lost his footing, and the ref called a free kick, and he turned around and said, no free kick, and the referee still gave it, and he argued saying, no, I slipped, I fell, and he still gave the ref still gave the free kick. Now he played the ball back to the goalkeeper, but this is what the game as a whole, especially the Premier League, is lacking. We don't have that. We have Mitrovic rolling around the ground. What was he, 6'2", 6'3", gets a tap in the face, rolling around, crying on the pitch. He's as much to blame as Mike Dean is. And Mike Dean was wrong, made the wrong call, but Mitrovic should be punished. Yeah,
definitely that's a great point. And we're talking about Mitrovic. They should get retrospective action. Definitely Rich Sports, I'm sorry to say this, Martial should get retrospective action. If you're going to dive like that, there's no accountability anymore.
I guess in the Martial situation, though, when you heard Bednarek, I don't know if anyone's seen this, but they played a clip of Bednarek going down the tunnel, and he turned, and they caught it on camera where he says to somebody, Martial said it wasn't a foul. So I don't know, maybe Martial said to the referee it wasn't. I didn't see that part on camera, but there is a clip of Bednarek actually saying Martial said it wasn't a foul.
And at that point, if you go look at the tape, you don't see it, right? And so you should just correct it and get it right, all right? Yeah. Either you give the yellow like you're supposed to, all right? Martial gets a yellow, or nothing, and you let it play on, and there's no penalty kick or whatever. So it should. I always say things should be. They're pretty easy. We just don't. As humans, we don't want to do that because it's pretty easy. It should be easy. There's nothing difficult that we're doing on a football field. This isn't nuclear science. It's pretty easy. There's lines all around it. You can see contact. You can see players on the field. It's easy. We just complicate things.
So, Gary, we're talking about inconsistencies in Arsenal, and we're talking about inconsistencies in the referees and the officials. Should all referees look at high-profile incidents, and should all of them say, I've made a decision, VAR is telling me maybe I should look at it, there should be that teamwork, a tandem, the referees should be a tandem as well, and they should actually look at the monitors as well. I think there's such a hurry to keep the game flowing that they're missing big decisions.
Yeah, but I spend 5 minutes on it. The ref still doesn't go look at the monitor. It makes no sense. Yeah. Just go straight over to the monitor, see what happened, and make a decision.
Yeah, I mean, you say that, but then we have decisions being looked at by VAR. So obviously, that's not the cause either, right? Because we've seen it, right? We've seen 2 incidents with Laka and a goalkeeper, and then one they reviewed it, and then the other one they didn't. Why would they? It's okay to review it. That's what it's there for. You're supposed to utilize it. And as soon as somebody says, you know what, you should look at that again, that should be all that's necessary. Yeah. It shouldn't be, like you said, it shouldn't be anybody up in a booth looking at it going, you know what, let me see what let me check something out. No, I think there's something there. Let's take a look at it together, get it over with. So now you don't have a referee looking at it after somebody else looked at it for 5 minutes, and either they saw it or they didn't. Because I think I saw on Twitter there was a post where they showed, I think, was it in Australia? They were doing a card, right? It was a red card. It was a high leg to the shin.
Yep.
And referee months, you could hear them communicating as soon as it happened. I think you need to take a look at this. All right, let's go turn on the video or whatever. There's it's pretty easy. By the time he walks over, the video is being shown. The first thing he sees is the legs high, hits the shin. All right, that's a red. Done. Yeah. Makes the call. Game's over. Game's continued on. It shouldn't be that difficult. You got too much technology, too many angles not to see things. If they can spend 20 minutes putting rulers on a field to determine onside, offside, then they can spend 5 minutes figuring out if somebody actually really did take a dive.
Yeah.
Was there contact? All these things. And if the referee made the call right, then there's nothing to look at. You move on. Like that in that Saka incident, right? The referee said, no, I saw we had a defender. in line with him. There's nothing to look at. Do you see something else? No, we move on. We're still going to complain, but the referee's controlling the match, and that's the way it's supposed to be. They're not dictating it, but they're controlling it so they can move on and continue. And it should have been over and done with, right? What happens is the TV stations will send it, show you reviews of it multiple times, a lot of times without the extra defender in the middle of the field. So all you see is Saka going down and nobody in front of him. When in reality, if you pull back, there's a defender in the middle of the field, which I still don't think he's going to get there. But whatever, they said, you know what? That's enough. That's what it's called. There's a defender right there in line with you, and you've got to get to the goal. At some point, you're coming to the middle of the field. Even if you are the fastest player in the league, it doesn't really matter. There's a defender there. He might get there before you do because you got the ball. So it should be easy. We
can only hope that these decisions are going to even themselves out, like penalty decisions themselves throughout the course of the season. Hopefully, I'm hoping that the Arsenal grievances are louder than other clubs, so that the referee, PGMOL, will start hearing from Arsenal and will truthfully be treated a little bit differently, because I do believe there's a slight bias there. Shout out to Daniel, the Blind Gooner. Thanks for joining us, Daniel. Sam, there was a question there from Rich Sports. Where do you think we're going to finish this season?
I think we'll struggle to make top half, to be honest. I think about 10th is about the best we'll probably see.
Yep.
8th to 12th.
8th at most, right?
Yeah, maybe.
Yeah, we did this on one of the podcasts. We went progressively from the bottom of the table up, thinking, are we better than this team? Are we better than that team? We stalled around 10th, 9th place. So I think that's where we're going to be at. Any other points, Gary, from the Arsenal performance yesterday at Aston Villa? Aston Villa seemed to be that team that we can't get past. Is it a psychological thing now?
No, I think it's player performance in this respect, because we had opportunities. I mean, one thing that I talked about is that one-touch football, we don't do it enough. I mean, we talked about it earlier in the show, all right? We sit on the ball so long that the defense has so much time to gather themselves. We kicked the ball into the defenders, I think, about 5 to 10 times in that game. You can't get past the first, and that's just, it's supposed to be a cross with a potential for a scoring chance, and we're kicking it right into the defender who's standing there. A lot of time not moving. I mean, I think you saw Grealish get hit in the face with a cross. I mean, I know on the left side with.
Did you kind of chuckle about that? Because I kind of did. I was like, he really hurt Grealish.
Well, he took a ball. I mean, that was straight on the face. So it doesn't matter how big and strong you are. I don't think he was expecting it to come off the leg like that. And you know what? It shouldn't have. It should have been able to get into the box somehow. And we make it easy on the defenses. We make defenses look so good. Yeah. Every time I see somebody come up the side, be it one of our fullbacks, they will always pull the ball back and go backwards. Once in a while, I want them to just continue up the side and go as far as the defense allows you. As soon as a defender walks close to them, they stop and go back. No, attack them, right? That's what we're paying you for. You attack the defense, you dictate to them. We don't do that, so then we pay for it because we never get the opportunities that we think we should. I mean, we had chances to win that game. I don't know if it could be the players, it could be the coaching, but it's a combination of the two, and the two aren't working together right now. And some people will say, how do you fix that? Either change the players, or you fix who's talking to them about how to play, right?
Yeah, I do believe our mentality is not strong enough yet. That we will need to probably move some players around. Nobody gets off in this podcast, Anthony. So, a word for Mikel Arteta. I thought some of his substitutions, especially after, I could understand Lacazette coming off for Aubameyang, but after that, it got a little bit hairy.
I mean, even Lacazette coming off, is not even a good move. That all three of the moves were. I know I just jumped in and I'm sorry, but they all three were just bad. They didn't push us forward. Let's just say that.
Yeah, and putting Aubameyang through the middle, I think Lacazette had played a lot of games, so I could kind of understand putting Aubameyang through the middle, but he hasn't done anything for Arsenal through the middle, Anthony.
Yeah, and that Bukayo Saka going left back as well. It's just he's our best player.
What we lacked was balance. At the end of the day, Anthony, we lacked balance.
Yeah, but that frustrates me with Saka. I know he's well capable of playing in all positions, but look, he's our best player week in, week out. Leave him where he's strongest. He'll play well wherever you put him, but it's like almost taking an Aubameyang who's scoring goals week in, week out, and then moving him to accommodate someone else. It's just, to me, it's ridiculous. The Willian one as well. I can only presume the reason why he didn't bring on Martinelli is because Martinelli, maybe like Chambers, is occupying a spot on the bench, but maybe not 100% fit to play. Now, me personally, I still would have played a 20% fit Martinelli over 100% fit Willian. I think you get more out. I think you get more out of Martinelli on crutches than you'd get out of Willian. To be honest, you get more intensity. So I can only presume these guys aren't fully fit, and maybe it's Arteta has learned a bit of a lesson with, we rushed Thomas Partey back, and look, he still hasn't fully recovered. Maybe he's learning that way. If that is the case, look, I guess I can give him a little bit of leeway. I'm hoping that's the case, because if not, and he honestly believed Willian was going to change that game, I would worry about his mental health.
So the issue I have is that he started to probably get something out of Pepe, and he's kick-started Pepe a little bit. So Arteta's sort of getting a big head here, thinking, I can do the same thing with Willian, Anthony. No.
Yeah.
What are we seeing in Pepe? Please, someone tell me, what are we seeing in Pepe that's changed?
Are you serious? Do we have to go over this over and over again, Sam?
Yeah, but why? What are we seeing?
He's actually playing on both sides.
He's playing what he should be doing as a fucking professional footballer.
I get that, but he wasn't before, and something has changed. And now that's a positive. You know what?
He's gone from 0% to like 50%, and we're all like, "Yeah, he's fucking."
No, that's actually good. That means something happened.
We'll take it.
That's a positive. Don't you want positive?
It's better than Willian, that's for sure. I could take one of those dummies out of a Harrods fucking storefront window and put him up front more than Willian.
I mean, this is a positive thing, and I know it's not the perfect thing, but it's a positive thing.
The whole problem is to get into this side and play, you got to have a hair like a fucking lucky troll that you stuck on your pen in the 90s, and you got to be Brazilian. If you're those two things, and the bonus is if you're surplus to requirements at Chelsea. If you've got those three things going for you, you're a shoo-in. You're an absolute shoo-in for Arsenal Football Club, and especially with Arteta. He will guarantee you first team football, no matter what.
Yeah.
It's terrible.
Haircut as well.
Big up.
I mean, listen. How can we play? Yeah. Sorry, I just want to finish my point. How the hell can Arteta? We want to win. You want to get back in the game and even try and win the game. You put on a player who's done nothing, absolutely nothing, for game after game after game after game. Somehow you think he's going to do something instead of the guy who's actually has a chance of doing something. That's Martinelli.
Yeah.
And on top of that, you take our attacking impetus, one of the guys who's actually doing something up front. Then you put him at left back because you know he can play there. But then, like Anthony says, took away our entire attacking, cohesion. Just gone, dead. And then Aubameyang, who he's just fallen off a cliff since he signed that contract. Yeah, I know there's mental issues there. Things are going on off the field, and of course, that's we feel for the guy and everything. But if you can't contribute 100%, if you're not firing on all cylinders 100%, you're not ready to go. You shouldn't be on the field, and that's the problem. I'm still on the side of. I think Aubameyang can be good down the middle. It's just that we've never used Aubameyang down the middle when he's on form. The only time we've used Aubameyang down the middle is when he's been off of form, when he started to go off the boil, when he signed his contract. So when we see Aubameyang, if That's a big if, guys. If we see Aubameyang find some form again and get his head back where it's supposed to be, and he starts, looking like he can play football again, then I'd like to see him try down the middle, potentially with Martinelli left and Saka right. I would like to see that, and maybe Odegaard and Smith Rowe behind them to feed the balls through the channels. But until then, he shouldn't even be in the squad, or he shouldn't even be in the squad. Give the place to someone else who can actually come on and give 110%. And this is the thing with Arteta. He's making so many bad decisions. That's the problem. He's making so many bad decisions. At the end of the day, the proof is in the pudding. We have, our season is bad. We've had more losses than wins, and we're worse off than we were with Emery. We are. We're worse off in the Premier League than we were with Emery, and yet somehow with Arteta, it's all a process. It's all this. It's all that. It was progress. Blah blah blah. But with Emery, we're all like, no, this is not good enough, and we sacked him. So talk about consistency. Where's the consistency there?
I believe that we're in the process, to use that word again, in the machinations of the rebuild, and these things are necessary, Sam. And I think sometimes to go forward, you have to go backwards a little bit.
Like I said, at the moment, I'm still Arteta skeptical. I'm not Arteta out. I'm Arteta skeptical. So what I'm saying is, I'm giving him. I want to give him the summer. I want to give him his big transfer window to shape up to shape the squad for next season, and then we see next season what happens. That's what I'm willing to do.
Yeah, let's do that, because let's take Ole as the example, Tony.
Yeah.
Next month, you're not Tony. You're not Tony.
Gary needs muted.
You're Gary. You'll get your turn, Gary. Tony, next month, March, Ole will have been in the job for 2 years, and they are showing signs of being that team that could maybe compete next year for the title. I don't believe Manchester United are going to win the league this year.
Yeah, but I think Sam can coach that team and get them in the top four.
My point here, and Russ made a good point here about VAR giving us the penalty if they hadn't looked at it. But my point is, last year we were laughing at Ole. We're laughing at Manchester United because they're having the results that we're having right now. But their club.
10th.
What's that?
So they weren't 10th.
No, they probably weren't turned. I'm not a Manchester United supporter. I don't know where they were. They were having bad results. They weren't second. They weren't third in the league, right? They were 6th, 7th. But they were having bad results. We were laughing at them. Now we're going through that. Is this a reason for us to stick with Arteta for the next year? And maybe we need to assess Arteta next February.
I just don't think he's going to pan out.
We got to see. He's making many mistakes. That's the thing. He does some correct things. He'll do some things that are good, and then he'll do loads of things that are not good. And the sum of all the parts are not good. We're not going in the right direction. Sorry, we're sliding down the table.
This was Ole last year.
Manchester
United fans were saying the same thing about Ole a year ago.
That's why I'm willing to give him a little bit of time to give, because I think it's fair to give a manager his opportunity to shape the team how he wants it. I think that's only fair.
Stacked when we were sitting third in October during the international break.
Yeah, but he still had was it 3 transfer windows at least or something like that. He had time to shape his team. And listen, I don't want to go down that whole recruitment team rubbish with Sanehi and all that. There was all that rubbish as well. Now, without Sanehi, it looks like Adu and Vinay and this new Merrick or whatever the hell his name is, guy is that it looks like they're working in tandem with Arteta on his targets. So I'm hoping that's what's going to happen, and Arteta is going to have some say on the players he wants, because that would make sense and also make sense in why he would take the job. So I'm willing to give him that chance now, because now the Deadwood's out the window, right? We've just made a couple of necessary loan signings that we needed, and the Deadwood's gone. So now the summer transfer window, this whole summer now, is going to be a pivotal moment, because we're going to see who he brings in. Because now the real the real sort of, the real building starts. So it's going to be very interesting to see who he brings in, and I'm willing to give him that opportunity to do that. And then when we go into next season, now when we start our next season, I want to start seeing stuff happen, because he's had so much time now to plan and realize what he needs to do. He should have a plan now for the start of next season, where if we're still not sure what we're doing at Christmas time, sorry, your planning and your preparation isn't good enough. Sorry.
I think that's fair. I think we need to give him the remainder of the season. And Gary, I'm going to get you now. You're biting your lip. I see that. Gary and Anthony, I'll get to you. Stefan, great cast, by the way, Ray, and the guys here, well done. So really appreciate those comments. If you're enjoying the stream, hit the like button. Would appreciate it. If you're new around here, subscribe. Gary, you were shaking your head about Ole and the comparison to United.
I mean, I know you said you don't look at where teams what United did last year, but they finished third. They've moved up one spot. That's it. They moved up one spot since last year. And you know what? They finished third. When's the last time we finished top four? We are trending in the wrong direction for us to suddenly turn it around next year and go up 6. If we're talking about trends, right? Manchester United finished third. So if we're gonna this is like comparing Arteta to Pep. You can't do that. Can't compare Arteta to Ole. They finished third.
Which would you have preferred, Gary? Would you have preferred to finish third or win an FA Cup last season?
No, but that's not what we're talking about. So you got to make a decision. What are we talking about? You just changed the goalposts on me. You just moved the goal, right? We're just talking about Ole and kind of where he was in terms of where we expect to be next year, right? Mm-hmm. We obviously the FA Cup means nothing to Arsenal because we didn't even play to win it.
Exactly.
So you might think it means something, but Arsenal said, nah, you know what? That's not something we need to deal with. We got other things bigger and better that we want to work on. Winning a trophy doesn't mean we're 13th, really.
Ray was born when we won one 50 years ago.
There are 2 teams below us with game in hand, 2 points back, right? So worst case scenario, we're 13th or whatever the number. I think it's 13th. I think it is. So we have. No, I don't want to look at Ole. I think this is an Arsenal thing. I can't look at teams that are finishing in the top 4 and say, you know what, if we do what they did, it'll work for us because we're obviously not in the same position. I mean, if you look at how the teams ended up last year, right? West Ham was 16th. Everton was 12th. Southampton 11th, right? Aston Villa 17th, right? All below us. Where are they now? Either just below us with games in hand or above us. We're not trending in the right direction. So who's looking at Arsenal and going, you know what? I can see some promise in what we're doing. Right? Who's doing that? Who's looking at that? I don't think that person's in the building right now.
My perception was last season Ole could have been a defeat or 2 away from getting sacked. And maybe we're going to be in that territory.
You know what? But think about it. He finished third, and you think he's going to get fired. And we're, as we said, 10th, and with no chance of finishing in the top 4.
What happened with Ole and Manchester United was, there was a very clear difference between the first half and the second half of the season. The first half of the season, last season, he was very close to getting sacked on several occasions because they had a poor run of form. And he was very close. There were discussions about it. And they decided to stick with him. And he got the January transfer window and they brought in Bruno Fernandes. And Bruno Fernandes, he turned that team around. When they brought him in, his assists and his goals, his penalties and assists and everything, he turned it around for them. He was a big I'm not saying he was everything, but he was a big contribution to what happened to Manchester United. You could look beyond that, and I think with him and together with Ole also figuring out a few things, making them a bit better tactically. Their second half of their season, they had a really good run of form and managed to get up the table and actually finish third. But the first half of the season, they were terrible. They really were.
Yeah, but I mean, like you said, the one thing that they did is they brought in a player that was going to start, that potentially was going to start for them. We didn't do that.
They brought in a very key player that they could get hold of. Yeah, that's true. They could get hold of.
I mean, we brought in some depth. That's what we brought in. We didn't bring in anybody that was going to potentially break into the starting lineup. I mean, huh? No,
Partey.
No,
He's just been unlucky with injuries.
Did we bring Partey in the summer?
Yeah, he came in the summer.
He's been here.
It doesn't matter. I mean, as long as you get a player in one of the windows.
Yeah, he just hasn't been fit. And like if you look at his track record with Atletico, I think he 2 injuries. I think I
think they said he's missed 5 games in his career at Atletico Madrid, and he's missed probably the same amount with us right now. Essentially, if you add up all the time missed, because he can't complete a game.
He's played 11 games for us, hasn't he? But some of them he's had to come off injured. So it's the curse of the Arsenal physios or whatever the hell's going on.
We're dealing with a short deck here. Trying to play poker. I mean, we got like 40 cards, and we can't figure out why we can't make a straight because we're missing all. Missing all the 2s and 3s or something. It's something ridiculous. So
Anthony,
yeah.
So Anthony, have your say in my comparison between Arteta, and Ole, because everyone else has had their, and you sat there silently and waiting your.
He thought it was shit like everybody else did.
Well, look, Arteta has better hair. That's about it, really. No, look. In fairness, I can see the comparisons. It's 2 ex-players coming in to take over the club. Ole has a lot more experience behind him as well. I think people write off the fact that he managed Cardiff and was it Molde that he managed?
Molde, Norway, yeah.
Like he's a lot more. He has a head start over Arteta straight away. Like we've seen, Arteta is making mistakes. An awful lot. He's learning on the job. This is what you get when you bring in a guy who has no prior experience. He's making mistakes for the very first time and second time and third time, and he's making it as our head coach. This is why, I would have liked him to have done his time elsewhere, and there's why I think it's beneficial to have done your time elsewhere. Cut out the mistakes, cut out the bad habits. Unfortunately for Arteta, when he improves as a manager, it might be after making his mistakes at Arsenal, and he could be elsewhere. I like the idea. I see the decline, and I'm not happy about it. But I like the idea that we started a project. I think we need to just give the project some time. I don't think you can begin a project and just because it starts going the wrong way, you tear it down and start it again because another guy comes in and then it's a new project and then it's a waiting game all over. I think we just need to give this time and actually see it through. I didn't think Emery got enough time as well, to be honest.
Nope.
Let's be fair. What you say? Ole is going to be there 2 years. Really, what's 2 years? Especially with the squad we have. This squad needs 3 years, 4 years. We're way off what we believe we are. We look at our squad on paper and we look at Villa's squad the other day, and Villa's squad's better than our squad. Ollie Watkins is better than Lacazette. It's just the difference is Lacazette costs double what Watkins costs. And us as fans, we say our player's better because he costs double the money. It's not the case. We started to get rid of all of the deadwood, but there's still a lot of deadwood still there. I still consider, Runerson is now deadwood. Bellerin is deadwood.
We got new deadwood.
Exactly.
Deadwood.
Exactly. There's still a lot in there. A lot of people would say Xhaka's deadwood, El Neni's deadwood, Ceballos is probably deadwood.
Bellerin and Xhaka, get rid of them.
There's still a lot of work to do, and Ole probably inherited a better squad than Arteta has inherited as well, right? So
in reference to Arteta, I just want to say one last thing. I love an analogy, and the thing in reference to Arteta, right? He's like Andy says, listen, he's a rookie coach. He's doing an internship at Arsenal, right? And there's a reason why a newly trained pilot on 10 hours doesn't get to be a captain of a 747, right? There's a reason behind that, and that's what we're seeing.
Yeah.
It should almost be, the way you have to do like your coaching badges and that. It should almost be. It's supposed to be the best league in the world. How can you have a first-time manager take over a team in the best league in the world? It should almost be a requirement that you have X amount of years already.
Like if you apply for a job, you got to have 5 years of experience doing the same, similar thing. Basically.
I mean, the only people outside of us Arsenal fans that thinks it's the best league and it needs some serious attention. We're the only ones that think that, because everybody in Arsenal thought it's okay to bring in Arteta. I mean, I did like the hire at the time because I figured they would give him all the support he needed. Obviously, they have not, and that's kind of and this is not just an Arteta problem; it's an Arsenal problem, right? It starts at the top, trickles down, like we've always been saying. And this is what we're seeing. We're seeing inconsistency on, we see it on the field with the referees, and we're seeing it on the field with Arsenal players, and we're seeing it with the way that they handle the transfer business, with the way they handle the contracts. Everything about it is just like we don't have the right people in place doing the right things for us. We've got nobody. I mean, this is bad. It's bad, but
I think this is the problem. Kind of like Chelsea with Lampard. I think sometimes we've a bit of a soft spot for the former captain, the former player, and maybe we're a bit softer with the recruitment because of things he may have done in the past. And I know Sam likes an analogy. This one just came up the top of my head. It's a bit like someone who used to be the former school janitor coming back to take the principal's job. In a sense.
Exactly. Yeah.
Okay, Sam. There was a question I think that Warren had.
Take that one.
Yeah, he said that the goalkeeper kicks it. The wind is pretty strong, turns the ball around, and it goes in for a goal. Does it count?
Who wants to go first?
I feel like if you can't, I feel like it's still a goal.
Yeah.
It's a goal kick again. Yeah.
Is it really? I would have said it's a goal if it goes in the goal.
So is the ball not in play once he kicks it?
Yeah.
I would say goal, because if it goes in the opposite end, it's a goal, isn't it?
Yeah.
I think.
Yeah. Yes. If he's This is. I'm not that good with all those laws, so it's a good question. For me, I would probably say it's not a goal because I'm thinking it's not.
I would say it is. It is a goal.
So
I would say it's not a goal.
Like I said, the question is the ball in play?
Yeah,
the ball in play once he kicks it.
Isn't it like the other one as well? I think if you take a throw in and it goes in the net, I think it still counts as well, doesn't it? I think.
Yeah. I don't think that counts. Does it? Yeah, I think so. It does count,
I think so. I think if you
throw
it, no one touches it.
That's a good question. I don't know if Warren's still here. He can answer the question for us, but it's a real tricky one.
Do referee's course here tonight.
Yeah, it's a real tricky one. It's a good one.
All right. So, hey, Tony, what is it a goal or not, Tony?
It happens here in Oklahoma. They let him re-kick it.
So what
I'm going to say no. I'm going to say
Oklahoma?
no. It's not a goal.
Sam, what happens in
it's not
Oklahoma
a goal?
stays in Oklahoma.
What's the
Because
question?
you've got
Why would you say that?
tornadoes there, right?
If Bernardo takes the kick out and it goes back in, it's a goal.
Sir,
If
here we go.
Martinez does it,
Warren's
it's
just
not.
answered. Warren's just answered. Put it up on the screen. Warren's just answered.
Guys on the panel, okay. And
It's an own goal.
you've been lighting it up in the comment section as well, so big up everybody in the panel. Guys in the panel, it is a corner to the opposition. You can't score an own goal.
None of us got it right.
Well, I said it wasn't a
First thing we
goal.
didn't get right.
I said it wasn't a
Our
goal.
credibility-
No. You said
Yeah.
half of it, but you didn't get the
Yeah.
full amount. You don't get full credit.
Yeah. I didn't say it was caught as a corner. That's fascinating. That is actually fascinating. Yeah, that's
That's amazing that you can actually score a goal as a goal from a restart, but you can't score an own goal, right?
Yeah.
They're both
No.
a goal, but I get. Yeah.
By any chance, does Warren have his own channel? Because I'd love to see him sit there answering questions all night. There's so much.
Warren could go around answering all these questions now. He really could on all the different channels because right now all the referees are in the spotlight now. Really are.
We could have Warren come on and put on like a mask, so he's the mask referee.
Yeah,
Just answer questions.
anonymous.
Because,
Anonymous.
I mean, because
They
on
can like the
the
steak.
on the Hyper squad, they had the referee come out and they didn't want to give out his name or anything, for whatever reasons. But so we could do the same thing. Have the mass referee come out and
So the
have
master
his
magician who gives away all the big illusion. You're the master who's giving away all the big illusions. You can't see who it is.
Tony, you have
Was
the
there
most
one?
difficult task of the day.
I can give you the worst two players.
Yeah, you got.
You know what? Somebody did earn it. Let's just say that.
Is that cryptic?
No, I'm waiting for Tony first, though, right?
I'd probably give it to Ryan.
Matt Ryan.
I agree.
Yep. Yeah. He got a goal scored on him because of his defense in front of him, but otherwise he stopped many a goals that came at him. So if that's our backup goalie going forward, I'm all for that.
And Anthony.
Does it have to be an Arsenal player get man of the match? Do you know what? Because he'll never, ever, ever get it again, I'm just going to give it to William. Give him something.
No, you can't do that. He
needs the confidence boost. He needs it.
He just got a salary.
Don't worry, he's going to watch this later. And this is going to be the season changer for him. William's going to tune in later and say,
he's getting a hat trick for next game.
Yeah. I'm going to be on this panel next time with my William wig on and William shirt.
His bonus accelerator just kicked in. He just got rich.
I got to give it to Saka. A player who just tried, and he's not getting the protection that he needs from referees, and I don't know why. Listen, we'll round out with one other thing here. Let's just look ahead a little bit. It's not looking good. The start of February has not been good to us. Gary, I wanted to fit this in. It's probably one of my first notes here, Gary. Arsene Wenger famously said confidence is so difficult to get into the team, but it leaves the team so quickly. And I feel after the 43rd minute of the Wolves game, confidence kind of left this team. Is it beneficial to have a week off now?
I kind of feel like yes, because we need to get Kieran Tierney healthy before we play another game. So we need to have a full squad. I want Partey back. He's going to give us 60 minutes, and we shouldn't even expect more. Right? He comes in, he gives us 60 minutes. Maybe we get something out of the game. But I think we need to get healthy, and if Kieran Tierney needs the time to come back, then I say we do that. I mean, I looked at our next 10 games, and I only see really 2 that we definitely have a chance to win in the next 10 games. I mean, you've got 2 Europa games in there. I mean, I don't know if did you say Leicester? You said Burnley, and you had so we've got Spurs, West Ham, and Liverpool before Sheffield United. So we have 2 games, Burnley and Sheffield United, that we might have a chance to win. And the way they're playing and the way that we're playing, it could be a tight game. A lot of teams
do the double over. Burnley.
A lot of teams
everyone's doing the double.
Everybody is playing pretty well. Like they're playing as best they can with what they have. We are not playing anywhere close to where we need to be with what we have. We've got quality players. We're not getting enough out of them. And that's where we are. We are just underachieving pretty consistently now. So this could be a run of 10 games that, Arteta out, flags and airplanes and all that stuff come out by the time we play Sheffield United. The one thing I'm going to say also is that we'll see how nice Pep is to us when we play them in between the Benfica games. I think he's been nice to us. Because they've only scored like 3 goals on us when they beat us, and I feel like he's turned the dogs off and said, "Hey guys, let's just play pass around. 10 passes, and then maybe you can score." And the fact that United was able to score 9 goals and close that goal difference gap, they just had 3 today. I'm scared of that game because at some point he's going to say, "You know what, Arteta? I'm sorry, we're friends and all, but I've got teams behind me that would want to take the spot for me, and I can't lose it by goal difference."
we need to win that Leeds game, Anthony, to get back on track. Our Leeds game, I think, is key to us. We want to be heading into the Europa League against Benfica. Whether it's going to be a two-legged affair or not, go away to Benfica in good heart.
Yeah, you know what? I'm at the stage where, like that, I'm just taking it game by game. I really am, because I've done it in the past where I've said that I don't think we're going to really get anything maybe from that Chelsea game, and we got a result. And then, of course, I looked at the Burnley game and I said, we'll definitely get a result here. And then we didn't. So it's so hard. I'm looking at the Leeds game, and I'm trying not to look anything beyond, because like that, I think we need to just do game by game. If we get a result against Leeds, maybe then we can get something against Benfica. If we don't get a result against Leeds, and if it turns out to be, Leeds are a good attacking side, we could definitely ship 3 goals in that game if we're not switched on. So I think that might determine what we see going into the Benfica game. And the only one I'm looking at as an absolute write-off is Man City. I just cannot see. If we were on a run of 10 games, without defeat, I still think City would just absolutely dominate us. We're just not up to their level. But yeah, look, I think it's game by game. And I know, as bad as this sounds, as defeatist as this sounds, I think, look, Europe is, I think, off the cards this season. We know we're not getting relegated. I think the season as a whole is a write-off. And I think right now, it's just about preparing for next season. I want Arteta just to find his balance, find his system, find his players that he knows are going to be with him for the future, and stop the messing about with Willian and other time wasters. Use the rest of the season. Don't even worry about.
Don't try to reform Willian, right?
No, Willian. Look, Willian's gone. We know David Luiz is gone. I think this is time. The next couple of months, I think he'll buy himself a bit more time. We know the league finish isn't going to be high this season. We know it's going to be a poor finish. I think we've all pretty much accepted it. I think if he can show us now, though, he has an eye on next season, and he's sort of listening to what we're saying, by phasing out the time wasters and like I said, what I would consider the dead wood that still remains. I think he'll buy himself a bit more time. I think he'll turn some of the fans a little bit more in his favour, because I think we give him a little bit more benefit of the doubt. If we're going out and losing 1-0 to Aston Villa, but it's a team with like Martinelli and Saka and Smith Rowe and Odegaard, and young players that are the future, you probably buy into that project a little bit more and kind of say, well, look, to be fair, I see what he's trying to do. The guys are learning. If you're throwing your Williams and stuff out there, you're setting yourself up for disaster.
Quick question I want to ask everybody. I'll start with you, Anthony, since we started off. Last season, we got 56 points. We're on 31 points right now. We have 15 games to go. That's 45 maximum available. We need 25 more points out of 45 to be 56 points. Is that possible? Can we do it?
I'm not confident. Yeah, I'm not confident.
So 15 games, we essentially have to win 8 of these 15 games.
Yeah, we definitely won't win 8 of the 15. There's not a chance. No, I think if we won 5 of the 15, we'd be doing quite well, to be totally honest.
This is all tying back to Gary posed this question at the start of the season. If we would improve, would not gain more points this season. And that may be the case. I think on the field, we may improve, actually, on the field, Gary, without gaining points. That sounds counter, right?
Yeah. I think to some degree, we're not even improving on the field as much as we probably would expect, because I feel like we're not getting to see the players play, one, in the positions they need to, and we keep bringing in, as they said, the deadwood, and we still have deadwood that starts for us, right? I mean, we have until Tierney is healthy, we won't know if Bellerin will continue to start, and with no replacement for Xhaka, he's always going to be out there. So, where do we go? And Partey can't go 60 minutes, so we've got 3 spots right there that are questionable as to how we improved from last season.
Yeah, Sam, hopefully we improve by putting Pablo Mari and maybe pairing him with Gabriel. I ask you the same question. Can we get 25 points out of 45, Sam?
Nope.
Not
Not happening.
No.
Not happening. Yeah. Because I live in the world of realism. Not cloud nine. So. Yeah, so I mean, look at this team and the way we're playing, what Arteta does and stuff. It's just you put all that together and you go, nah, not happening. So yeah, I'll be happy to see the development of Smith Rowe, Saka. See these kids hopefully develop a bit more. Yeah, and I think Mari and Gabriel, we need to see them play together, see what that gives us. Hopefully, it'll give us a nice sturdy central defence. And I'm worried about Kieran Tierney. I'm worried about his injury proneness. I'm worried about Partey's level of fitness. If we got a problem there where we need to rest him for a while before we can use him again, which is going to be a big problem. We've got all these issues, guys, and it's not good. And if that wasn't enough, 15 players are within 2 seasons of their contracts ending now when we get to June. So good luck, everyone. Fasten your seatbelts. Get ready to fly Arsenal air.
All right. And Tony, we'll round it out with Tony. We'll finish the podcast with you, Tony. Can we hit 56 points this season?
Can we or will we?
What?
So can we or will we? We can, but there's no chance in hell of us doing it.
Yeah, I think it's gonna be close. I'm gonna be the one. I'm gonna be the one to say we can finish 56 points and above.
Come on, Ray. Just come on. This is just like the holding situation all over again.
I haven't looked at the whole fixtures, but I do know we played a lot of the bigger clubs away from home. We're going to get some of them back home. On the other hand, Gary, we do have to improve, and yeah, we'll see what happens here on out. I think the key fixtures next weekend against Leeds. If we lose that, it's not going to look good for the remainder of February. If we win it, we can maybe kick on again. But we'll see what happens. What we had is a makeshift cover in left back who pretty much cost us a goal combined with Holding yesterday. Cedric has had his good games at left back, but we didn't go out in the transfer window and get quality cover for Kieran Tierney. That may have been a mistake. So thanks, Gary and Anthony.
I'm sorry, just laughing at.
Was it something I said?
It's Tony's last post. We'll be done with the show. Super Bowl will be halftime, and you won't miss the halftime show.
You're a very bad man, Tony. Very, very bad man. But we love you.
Yeah, enjoy the Super Bowl. That might, that's football, as they call it over here in the States.
All right, who do you like, Gary, in the Super Bowl?
Everybody kind of wants Brady to win, and I kind of want to see Kansas City win. So
Kansas City for me.
Anthony,
you got a dog in the race, Anthony?
I don't follow it at all, but I've spent a lot of time over in the Green Bay area. So if the Packers are still in with a shout, we go Packers. I haven't a clue.
That's almost like me saying, as somebody who doesn't follow, world football, that if Arsenal is I think they're a good strong top 4 team. That's about what you just said.
I've heard Arsenal's name.
I read somewhere, I don't know if it's true or not, but I read somewhere, I can't remember where now, it wasn't long ago, where they were writing, they're saying that apparently Mahone is an Arsenal fan and Brady is a Tottenham fan.
Yes.
So
there you go, Anthony.
So then we want Mahone to win, right? We don't want that geriatric Tom Brady. Yeah. How old is Tom Brady now anyway? 67?
Close. He's close.
56.
How many steroids has that guy got to put in his waffles in the morning?
You know what? He says he's on a special diet. I think he's on maybe that vegetarian diet that
He's on that.
He's on
the same diet.
He's on the same
diet. He's on the same diet Jose Canseco was on in the 80s. I'm sure it was.
He might be.
All right.
Recommend of needles.
Sam wants the Chiefs, the Kansas City. Tony, who do you want?
I want Buccaneers to win. I think Kansas City will win.
All right, 4-1. You're outvoted. Listen, you've been watching Arsenal Fan Circle. Thanks to Gary and Tony, and Anthony and Sam for joining. And Alonso.
Sorry, I just want to say one.
You're the one that wants to wrap it up, Sam.
Yeah,
You're
sorry,
the one that wants to wrap it up.
You said you had to go, Sam.
Sorry. Just important. I just want to say a thank you to Warren Thornton, who joined us today.
Yes, thank you very much.
I invited him. He's normally in the chats on our watch-alongs on the Mr. Arsenal podcast, and I invited him to come today. First of all, because I think it would be good entertainment, but also because I sort of figured we'd be talking about referees. So thanks a lot, Warren. You've been a great help. Thanks a lot.
Yep, thank you, Warren.
No, and Sam is the one who wanted to wrap it up, but you're extending it.
Sorry, I just want to say thanks to him. Sorry.
No, you're right. Shout out to Warren.
Super Bowl halftime before you.
Shout out to everyone who's been watching, everyone who will watch, and thanks for all of your time, guys, here today. And shout out to Alonso. He had to shoot off real early. So we'll catch you on Thursday for the next one. We don't know what we're going to talk about, but Arsenal World will provide content, and we will be here to share it.
You changed the name of it?
We're out of here. Come on, you Gooners. Up the Arsenal. For God's sake, let's get a win next weekend. Please, God.